Today, all eyes are on King Charles III, but we cannot forget the longest reigning monarch, the spectacular Queen Elizabeth II, whose crowning ceremony was the first televised coronation. Elizabeth's father, King George VI, was crowned in 1937. The event was the first coronation to be broadcast live on the radio, reaching an estimated audience of 20 million listeners worldwide. King George V was crowned in 1911. It is the oldest colorized event we know, even though most of the footage has been lost. King Edward VII's coronation in 1902 was the first time a reigning monarch traveled by automobile to the ceremony, showcasing Britain's embrace of modern technology. Queen Victoria in 1838 was the first royal ever to be photographed. In this picture with her children, the Queen found out she had closed her eyes. In an attempt to remove what she perceived as an unflattering image, she scratched out her face while sparing the children. William IV hated ceremonies and had to be persuaded to have a coronation. He spent so little money on it that it became known as the penny coronation. It did not feature a grand banquet. Instead, the guests were served turtle soup. The coronation of King George IV in 1821 was the most expensive coronation in British history, costing over £21 million. The king was known for his love of luxury and extravagance, and he spared no expense in planning his coronation. In 1761 came the coronation of George III. An interesting fact about George is that he is still the longest reigning king ever at 59 years and 96 days. George II's coronation was the first time Zadok the priest was performed. It has been used ever since and has even been modified for the UEFA Champions League. George I was the first ever German king of England. His coronation is noted for excluding his wife, whom he had imprisoned over a very famous, scandalous affair. The music for Anne's coronation was composed by William Croft, who was a prominent composer of the time. His anthem, God Save the Queen, became the official national anthem of Great Britain. Before Anne came the coronation of William and Mary in 1689, which was the last joint coronation in Britain's history. James II was the last Roman Catholic monarch to be crowned in England. His coronation was held on April 23, 1685. James's brother Charles II was the last monarch to be crowned while wearing a full suit of armor, a tradition dating back to medieval times. His coronation took place on April 23, 1661, and since then the royal family has switched to more comfortable robes. Charles I was crowned in 1626, and his reign was marked by conflicts with the Parliament, which eventually led to his execution. James I was crowned in 1603 and became the first Scottish king to rule the Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. The coronation of Queen Elizabeth I took place in 1559. Elizabeth was the first monarch to wear a gown made entirely of English silk. Prior to that, monarchs had worn garments made of imported fabrics such as velvet and satin. Mary I was the first ever queen regnant of England. She was crowned queen in 1553 after centuries